Okay, good morning. Okay. Hello everyone. It's 3:10 in the morning in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm recording this video in two areas. I'm recording it for the Ubuntu Addiction Community Trust, the UX school, which is a school where our aim is to train recovery coaches. So we have three things we need to do: is train recovery coaches. So we have three things we need to do: is train, empower, and treat. And we use technology to do that. And we're a global school, and what we do is we go around the world and teach recovery coaching. And I'm very passionate about this. It's part of my kokorozashi. And those of you that kind of know what's going on will understand. I'm also completely barking mad, and that's okay. Once you get to know me, you'll know my heart's in the right place. And yeah. Anyway, what we do is we go around and we create containers, and a container is something. So we're creating a container here, and I just want to say something about spirituality or doing something good. This is sacred for me, and in this container I want to put some sacred space. Yeah. I'm just going to leave this on the side here. It's a Bible, and it means something to me. And anyway, our vision at the Trust is to cure the world of addiction. And how do we do that? Is we train people, empower them, and treat them. And we go around the world and create containers. Hello, Gregory. Good morning. Yeah. So I'm talking about the school and what we do. I'm flying off to the UK in the morning, and I can't sleep, and talking about curing the world of addiction. And Greg's a very good friend of mine, and part of our relationship really got me to change my life many years ago, and I know the same is true the other way around. Anyway, so Greg, what I am doing, seeing as you're awake and maybe you are still watching, is I'm recording this live in two areas. I'm recording this because we're entering a Google competition which talks about our school and promotes our school, and on the workplace platform, Workplace for Good, which is a Facebook product, and I'm using the two technologies to bring the guys together so we can have a global school. And I'm talking about the containers that we create, and here's a container for hot coffee, and here's a container that I've put something sacred in. So how are we going to go around the world and cure the world of addiction, where we have all the wealth at the top and all the heart at the bottom? And if we look at that as an axis mundi, and where am I now? I'm in the kitchen, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and how many conversations happen in kitchens at 3 o'clock in the morning that are based around addiction and what's happened and the chaos of the night before, and how many kind of families impacted by the chaos, and people will sit around the kitchen table and say, what must we do? And so the kitchen is a container where a lot of soul work gets done, and people use knives and hopefully look for solutions to the problems. Hello, Perry. So anyway, what I just want to show you today is our next step. And what I'm doing is I'm opening up this thing here. It's called a wonder bag. And this wonder bag is used for cooking. It's used for cooking. It's It's created by a company called Wonderbag, which was the founder is Sarah Collins, and the biggest killer in the world is indoor fires and people cooking on open fires and the diseases that are associated with that in rural areas. So basically it's a bag where you put food in a pot, and then you fill it up with hot water or the hot water in the pot, and basically it keeps the heat in and it cooks slowly. And is it normal for addiction to be unfolding in the kitchen at 3 a.m. here? It used to be, yes, yeah, that's true. And what we're doing is we're communicating here over technology across the world. Jay runs our school in New Zealand, and this is us communicating. So it's the middle of the day for him, and I've got an online class with him today, which we use on the workplace platform, which Jay, I'm unable to attend today, so you're going to have to take it over. And part of the training is monitoring people as they go through our work and our course material. And so like kids do homework in kitchens with their parents, we're using technology here to train coaches that go off and create containers and recovery capital. And our idea is to use the Wonderbag and send this out to areas where there's already a lot of presence, and there's a lot of mothers that are cooking using this. And by combining with Wonderbag, and what we're doing here is we can start to educate and teach and empower communities that are really impacted by, because it's often the women and children that are impacted by substance abuse. And I know when I was addicted, and I was, it's still painful to talk about, but when I was mad, I caused a lot of pain for a lot of people. And for me as a man to try and get over that shame and pain has taken me a process, and this is all part of me giving back and doing good. Anyway, so here's the Wonderbag, and here's the lid, and we're going to put a cell phone in the Wonderbag, and we're looking for $1,000 a student, a coach, to train coaches and to use technology so we can put a device in the Wonderbag with instructions and with some videos that have been loaded, and we can start then to communicate and build this global organization using this technology. And we're going live here on Google, on our YouTube channel, and recording live on Facebook here to talk about our workplace platform. And Jay, who's is almost one of our master coaches that's been working with us, will take on the ownership of creating containers in New Zealand and building community. Now, what I love about the Wonderbag is global conscious capital. And the idea with global conscious capital is everybody gets access to the same product, no matter how much it costs. So a Wonderbag will cost $1 in Africa, and it will cost $50 in the States on Amazon. And what we're doing with the recovery coaching training is a similar concept. So we want everyone to be able to do recovery coaching and to be empowered to go in and shift culture and use coaching to shift culture from a culture of addiction to a culture of recovery. And by doing this, we're creating a culture of learning. There's a learning environment which is surrounded in a culture of spirituality, hence the something sacred to me, which is a Bible, which is a book that my girlfriend gave to me, and it has a lot of meaning. So when I create a sacred circle, and this is about doing good, and the good of everyone, because the spirit of Ubuntu is we all suffer together, we all rise together. And I know with addiction, doesn't matter what kind of kitchen you've got, whether your kitchen is in Manhattan in New York, or your kitchen is kind of, in some rural area in the country, you have been impacted by drugs and alcohol. and people don't know what to do. So they come and see us, and then we coach people to find out what resources are available to them to create a culture of recovery for them, and to basically protect themselves from the harms of addiction, because addiction is a continued behavior in spite of the negative consequences. And we work with schools, we work with families, we work with treatment centers, we work with faith-based organizations, we'll work with the police, we'll work with drug dealers, we'll work with the cartel, we'll fucking work with anyone. We'll work with anyone that wants to create recovery capital. And so recovery capital, what we talk about here is what the internal and external resources are available to someone when they want to change their behavior. So that's what recovery capital is. And so for our treatment centers here in Johannesburg, we've got high-end luxurious beds, we've got kind of middle-of-the-road beds, and we've got outpatient programs that can be rolled out to everyone, because the cost of treatment and housing someone is what makes it so difficult, but the basic principles and the education underneath is what's important. So with technology, we're using technology to spread that information out. So, for example, to be able to get into Harvard, the doors of access are pretty hard to achieve. So it creates an eliteness because you cannot get to the knowledge. Yeah, and we're kind of breaking that and saying, well, this isn't true. We're sharing the magic, for want of a better word. And so it's 20 past 3 in the morning, and I woke up at 2 o'clock, and I've just been thinking about all this stuff and how we can continuously work and change to make the world a better place for everyone. And for example, if someone wants to come for treatment to us, they can pay using Bitcoin. And I think we're the only rehab in the world that can do that. And we've created a structure where someone can take their Bitcoin account and convert it into treatment for someone, which I think is fucking ingenious. And I'm going to pat myself on the back, because the one thing with addiction is when you go and you talk to people and you say you want to cure the world of addiction, or you want to do this sort of work, they think you're fucking nuts, which I guess I am. And that's been part of the burden of it. So my mind and my thinking and my insanity, the addiction substance would often kind of settle my thinking, would often kind of just fucking bring me home. And I've had to find other ways now, because the drugs and alcohol stopped working. I'm still on the coffee, and what recovery really is not about stopping taking drugs. It's about what it is that you recover. What do you get back? What has the addiction taken away? And so, for example, work addiction, where people wake up and they go to work and they do kind of dead-end jobs or what everything, because they're fearful about, I got to have money, and I got to have this, and I got to have that, and it kills their soul, and it takes away their time. That's addiction. So like the Wonder Bag is really good at giving communities back time, because to go off and gather wood and to collect water and to bring that back to wherever you're cooking takes a lot of time, and then preparing the meals and cooking, it's very time consuming, and that's what this does. Saves people time. And what we're doing here with technology and the way that we're working here is we're saving people time, hopefully. What they do with the time is going to be the next question, because when somebody's sitting around and they've got a lot of time, maybe they want to go down the pub because they're bored and they don't know how to make that time more useful. And I guess that's what education is, it's teaching people and empowering people to go and do something different. Tracy Skinner, hello darling, welcome. I'm busy curing the world of addiction, and Tracy's another friend of mine that's known for a long time in the madness of the mind. And yeah, so Tracy, what I'm talking about today is our school, our online school. We're recording this for Google competition, trying to win the competition and get $250,000 to keep doing what we're doing here, to kind of train people and empower people. I've been talking about the Wonder Bag, and how we're going to be using the Wonder Bag to plant a technology device in that kind of connects rural communities. And we've been talking about global conscious capital, which is the cost of anyone can buy a Wonder Bag for like $1 in Africa or $50 in the States. And when you bring that money together, what do you do with it? And how do you use it for good? And it's the same concept here. We create recovery capital, which is learning environments where we create containers where people come together in a kitchen like this and talk about the solutions to addiction problems. And in that container, you bring sacredness. And here I've bought a Bible for me, which is something sacred, but it could be anything. You know, one of the challenges with addiction is the moral dilemma and the way patriarchy and Christianity has actually harmed and caused more damage. So we need to be aware of that. And nice coffee container. And now, like, as we get kind of new ways of paying, like our rehab can take Bitcoins now for patients who want to come in for treatment. You know, they could pay with Bitcoins. And the way that we're structured is we're a public benefit organization, and that basically means corporates or individuals can make tax-deductible donations to us. And our goal is to train 1,000 coaches at $1,000 per coach, so we're looking to raise $1 million. And today on Facebook, they're launching a Workplace for Good, and I'm recording live directly to our YouTube channel, and all our classroom material and work educational stuff is all stored on Google Drive, which is given free to us because we're a charity. And then our social media platform is a closed platform on Workplace, which is given to us by Facebook. And yeah, so that's what we're kind of doing. And we've got Jay here, who's, I'm not sure what time it is, but it'll be sometime during the day there. And we have an online masters class tonight with Jay in New Zealand, which I'm unable to attend, and I'm just kind of hopefully manipulating Jay into taking it over. But this network that we're building of recovery capital developers essentially is people that get certified, trained, and can go out and make a difference. And this is just an example of how we're using the technology. And what's great about going live is there's no fucking bullshit. This is it. This is real. This is live and direct. We don't have time to edit and to kind of change and manipulate the information and data. It's raw. And when New Zealand, this guy I met in New Zealand, Daniel Napier, and what he spoke about is when New Zealand broke away from colonialism and got their independence, there were 3 values that they used. And one was transparency, access, and participation. And we're using those values here in this environment in another project, the Mankind Project. And I've taken those values and just want to talk to them about them here, because once I understood them, it's like, oh fuck, okay. So these are things that we need to do to break down the mistrust. Because certainly when I was using crack and heroin and drugs, you know, there was a police and, you know, that whole like, fuck, who do you trust and what's going on? And there's a whole lot of mistrust in the environment. And people are getting incarcerated, jailed all over the world because of their drug crimes, and a lot of the drug crimes as a result of mental health, you know. There's nothing wrong with taking drugs. You know, what is wrong is the consequences and behavior that goes with that, especially when someone can't stop taking drugs. And it's the antisocial impact of that behavior that has on society, that society wants to kind of push and hide. So our jails are filled with mainly people from different cultures other than kind of white Anglo-Saxon influenced cultures, like mainly black men around the world, and for crimes that, you know, which are just kind of bullshit, because the drug laws and that sort of stuff was kind of created to try and control different people and different cultures. So addiction really is a diversity issue. So what happens in the school environment, anti-drug programs and things like that, is you'll have kids come up into the school system and they'll bring some guy in that's fucking from the street that's you know, fucked up from fuck their life up, and they come and talk to these kids, and the kids can't relate to them. The kids kind of think, well, that's never going to happen to me, and that's not going to work, and don't do drugs and you'll go to jail and all this sort of stuff. And then these kids kind of come in here, and when they do start using, it's like, what were these people talking about? They lied to me. So it creates a whole lot of mistrust in the child's psyche from the very beginning. And because the child's grown up in an alcoholic home or an environment where, you know, wasn't safe, the problem perpetuates and carries on because, well, I'm not like them, I'll never be like them, this is what they did, but for me it's going to be different. And then that pattern just keeps repeating. And so when people do get to the bottom or something, it's like, well, we told you not to do it, which just isn't helpful for anyone. And then what happens is addiction goes and it gets isolated. And then you get programs like Alcoholics Anonymous, anonymous being the key word, because people would meet in secret around this sort of stuff and talk about the solutions. The trouble with anonymous programs is it keeps everything in secret and in shame. It's like, oh, we can't talk about this, and so-and-so's relapsed, and this is happening. So it's because of the secrecy and the shame of it, it keeps people oppressed. And when people try and get out of that oppressed environment, the oppressees pull that person back down. Keep yourself small, what are you doing? And that's a fuck up. And we see the same problem in lots of marginalized communities. You know, and it's only around the kitchen table cooking and nourishing ourselves with goodness and wholesome education and spiritual principles and courage to go out there and make a difference and to break the shame and the stigma of addiction. And because I'm a fucking nutter and I love technology, that's what I'm doing. And I can't sleep. This stuff is passionate, brings a lot of passion for me. So I hope I'm making sense. We've got the YouTube channel, which I'm recording live to, and then we've got the Facebook platform that I'm recording live to, and then there I've got 2 hearts. Oh, that's the next addiction, social media addiction, you know, likes, affirmations, this sort of stuff, and people out there are going to need to find ways of reconnecting post the device. And with all things kind of powerful, oh, lots of hearts, oh, I feel blessed, I'm blessed, because, fuck, it's lonely addiction, eh? The isolation of the mind. Alright guys, well, there was Greg, there was Tracy, and from South Africa, and then there was Jay, and Perry. Perry was from Australia, and Jay's from New Zealand, and let's fucking just share the shit out of this. Let's just share. I mean, this is sharing, and yeah. So, that's a Wonderbag story. And yeah, Jay, I hope you can do this. I'm going to phone you now offline, and yeah, let's go. So Google, hope we can win this competition, and Facebook. Thank you for Workplace, and Facebook and Google. We need to work together here to come up with a common solution. Stop fighting over your share price. You've got more than enough. Learn the spirit of Ubuntu, where we all rise together. And yeah, thanks. Bye.
Okay. Hello everyone.